Brooke. Hi, Sarah. Erika, are you in Oregon?
I'm in Sun Valley, Idaho right now.
I know. Okay.
Yeah, we're living in our van, so I'm at my friend's parents' house right now. So
Cool. I think I saw that
yeah,
you're living in the
yeah,
van. It looks
hmm
sweet.
yeah. Let's see. Trying to. I don't know if it's letting me share,
That's weird.
or maybe. Let me try this. Desktop allow. Okay,
It does show you as co-host on my end.
I think I have to go in my settings and
Oh,
add.
there's something.
Hmm. Mhm. Oh, I think I have to quit Zoom and come back in
Okay,
to be able to share. So I'll be back.
I'll let you back in.
Okay, cool.
Okay. And now there's three of us. Brooke, Sarah, do you want to pop in the chat where you all are based out of? I feel like I know. Um, I know, Brooke, you've been on these. I don't remember, Sarah, if you have. Okay, Erica's back. Salt Lake. I think I knew that, Brooke, or maybe I remembered that.
Okay, see if it
Okay.
works. All right. So, cool. Did it work?
Yep, I can see it.
Cool. Awesome. And present. Did that work too?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay,
I see.
perfect.
And I'd say maybe we give like one or two more minutes before we start because I think more people trickle a few minutes after.
Mhm.
But it also might just be a cozy event.
Love it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Is it snowing up there where you are, Erica?
A little bit. It's like sunny in the valley and it's been snowing up high, so gonna go skiing tomorrow and go on a hut trip this weekend. So
Oh, fun.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, everyone, we got two Utah people, one Nevada. I'm in Colorado.
Nice.
Got Idaho. Yeah, we just started to get snow and it's actually coming down pretty good right now, but it's been a pretty bleak winter here for us, at least in
hmm
in the southwest region of Colorado, and we need enough snow to cover dirt, or else it's really just going to be muddy tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh
Uh,
man.
yeah. It's
It's
okay.
definitely feels like spring a little bit here.
Yeah. Yeah, which it's nice to have the warm weather days, and then also I get really nervous about fire
hmm
season and having things melting a little too early. Yeah.
hmm
Okay, well, I'm gonna get started. I'm sure a few people will join as we're starting to talk. But especially since it's a smaller group, if everyone wants to put in the chat what your like method of travel in the backcountry generally is, or if you're new and just kind of like thinking about it, what would be your way of traveling in the backcountry? I am a split boarder. I am injured this season, so I am not doing any snowboarding. But I'm really excited for this final backcountry beta of this season because it feels very timely, especially with like spring conditions and like especially in Colorado, generally speaking, our snowpack is starting to settle a little bit more and talking about maybe getting out there a little bit more. Cool. We got some skiers. Yeah, awesome. But yeah, I'm Evan. I use she, her pronouns. I work for Coalition Snow. We're a women's owned ski and snowboard company based in Reno. We do a lot more than just skis and snowboards, but it's a really great community. We've been doing these backcountry beta events for this is our fourth season. They're all free events. We post the recordings at the end, and we wouldn't be able to do it without TREW Gear, which is a really amazing outerwear company based in Portland. And tonight we have one of TREW Gear's awesome ambassador athletes, Erika. And tonight Jess is not joining us from TREW Gear, but she rocks, and she's been just amazing with putting together these backcountry beta events. So, Erica was here last season for an event, and it was really, really awesome. I shared it to a bunch of people to watch the recording, and I have a feeling that this one is going to be similar and a really great resource. So, Erica, I'm going to hand it on over to you. And if anyone has questions while we're going, feel free to put them in the chat and I'll try to jump in to ask them if it's relevant to what we're talking about. And we'll also have some time at the end for questions.
Awesome. Well, my name's Erica Phelps, and I am a TREW ambassador as well as a atomic ambassador. And I've been working in the ski industry for about 7 years. I'm also a nurse, so that's kind of what I do in the daytime. I am currently taking a year off of nursing and living in my van with my husband and my dog, and helping my husband with his job and in the film industry. So kind of taking a step back from nursing at the moment, but still skiing a lot, and it's been pretty fun. So I've been in the backcountry for about almost 10 years now, and I've been skiing since I was two. And so I feel as though I've had a decent amount of time to learn about what makes a good leader and how to be one myself. So I'm excited to share it with you, all of you. So um, here we go. We're going to get started. So today's agenda, we are mostly going to talk about um, technical skills, safety knowledge, pre-trip planning, choosing where to ski, and then we're going to top it up with communication and tiers of preparation. So basically, I'm going to kind of start out with the basics of all the things that you need to be feeling really solid with before you even think about starting to um, lead in the backcountry. It's a it's a dangerous place, and there's a long process that needs to happen before you start leading. And so yeah, we're gonna. It's also a very multifaceted thing, leading in the backcountry, and you could probably spend a week or two talking about every nitty gritty detail listed in there. So I'm just gonna touch basically on the few things that you can use as a stepwise process to get to the point where you feel like you are ready to lead. And then once we get to that point, then we'll start diving into more of the communication skills and different things that you might need to do to have a successful day in the backcountry. And yeah, I'm not going to be going into specifics of, you know, planning exactly where you want to ski on the mountain and planning your routes. This is more to do with your communication with your group and how to make everyone feel confident and safe, including yourself. So that's mostly where we're going to be at today. All right, so where do we start when we're trying to get into the backcountry, when we want to lead a group? I feel as though these these key things here, your avalanche safety, avalanche one, rescue, Abby two. I feel like once you have those three, you'll have a pretty solid basis of feeling ready to start leading other people as opposed to being led in the backcountry. Um, Utilize your avalanche forecasters and go to your avalanche events in your area and just get really acquainted with your specific area. And I'll talk more a little bit about that later. And then first aid, it's really important to have at least one person in your group know first aid skills, whether it's a WUFA or a woofer. Um, when you're out in the backcountry, you have to save yourselves, and it takes a long time for help to get there if you do need help. So to be able to help yourselves is very important in my opinion. And so if you're looking to start leading, that's a good place to start, would be to start looking at some sort of first aid class and how to be able to, get your friend out of the backcountry if they broke their leg. You also have to be very skilled in your navigation skills. I use Onyx Backcountry as well as Goat Maps. I use kind of a combination of the two, but a lot of people love Gaia or CalTopo. CalTopo is a great one for beginners because it's free. But yeah, Goat Maps is really cool. It's a newer one where you can put in different layers for based on the avalanche forecast, so you can kind of choose which areas you might be less dangerous than others, which is pretty cool. You also want to be really comfortable in basic navigation with a map and a compass and being able to pinpoint where you are if your phone dies. And then you can really be able to step into that leader position if, if everything goes to shit and you need to use that. So yeah, those are kind of the basics where you'd want to start. So it's I'm not trying to say this to gatekeep at all. It's mostly a stepwise goal process to lay out where you might want to put your resources to if you are feeling like you want to start moving towards being a leader in the backcountry. So the first thing that you want to think about when you're leading in the backcountry is promoting safety and team cohesion. And whether you're the leader or a person in the group, you want to feel really comfortable around your team. And I feel like a good way to do this is to just go skiing at the resort with your friends and the people that you want to go in the backcountry with. Chat with them about their experience level, see what kind of terrain they can ski. And this is just really helpful to just kind of keep in the back of your mind when you're choosing terrain later on, and making sure you're not choosing something that's too difficult for one friend or not challenging enough for another. Um, and yeah, it's really important to feel like you trust each other, since you're making life-changing decisions, potentially life-changing decisions in the backcountry, and you need to really trust your friends. So yeah, get to know your people. And choosing where to ski, like I said, I'm not talking specifically about, picking nitty-gritty lines, but it's really important to make sure that you're aligning with everyone in the group. And oftentimes, this is where disagreements or rifts occur in groups when there's terrain chosen that's above or below the comfort level of the group. And then someone wants to push it a little more, or someone's like, I don't want to do that. And then, that's when everything kind of goes crazy. So you want to make sure that you're choosing a good terrain choice based on the people that you're skiing with. And if you're skiing with someone that's very experienced and then someone that's not very experienced, you want to kind of let that experienced person know, hey, we're going to be skiing like down here today. And I want to let you know that. And I don't want you to feel like you're, out of your realm or anything, but that's what we're going to do. And if you're not comfortable with that, or you want to ski something bigger, then we'll go another day. So it's just important to make sure expectations are aligned and everyone feels comfortable in regard to terrain and avalanche risk. And, if you're going out on a moderate day, it might be a little more uncomfortable for some people to ski on a slope over 30 degrees if they've never skied a slope over 30 degrees on a moderate day, whether they know if it's safe or not, or they lack the skills to know if this particular aspect is not affected. They could still feel uncomfortable, and it's important um, to think about that and make sure you're aware of where everyone's at. So yeah, and snowpack knowledge. So you want to make sure that you're very intimately involved with the snowpack. I personally read the snowpack report or read the avalanche report every day for my local area. I live in Whitefish, and even though I'm living in the van now, I still read the report every day, and it just helps me feel like I'm have an intimate knowledge with what's going on. And if I go back and ski, then I can look and dig a pit and see the layer that's, from 2 weeks ago and be like, I remember reading about that in the report when they had that warm day. And it just helps you feel more confident when you're out there, when you have this intimate knowledge about what's going on in the snowpack. And that's just a great place to start early on in your ski career, to just constantly be reading the report. They have amazing resources in there, and they usually use a framework that is really easy to understand, yet you're still learning at the same time. So it's a really great resource, and I highly recommend that you read your local avalanche forecast every day, and not just the week before you're going out on a tour. So pre-trip planning. Another thing that you want to think about is your weather and avalanche forecasts. I'm a heavy user of Open Snow. I really love it. It is a paid subscription, but I feel like the amount of details that you get from Open Snow is pretty amazing. That you can do point forecasts, and you can put a point right on the peak that you want to ski, and then it'll give you a breakdown of the wind pattern for the following day, cloud cover, precipitation likelihood, and it's just super useful. So highly recommend just staying in touch with your weather for where you're going to ski, because not only is the avalanche forecast information very important, the weather information is arguably just as important, because if you get stuck in a whiteout with heavy winds on a day that you didn't anticipate, that can be really challenging to navigate through as well. Yeah. And as far as communication and emergency plan, I always have a plan in place for with my husband. If I don't go out skiing with him, then he's fully aware of where I'm going, when I plan on being back, and all of that stuff. And then he knows what to do if I don't come back at a certain time. But if I do go out with my husband, then I have another person that I'm not going out with that knows where I'm going, and it should be someone that is in that area. You don't want to use your dad. Like, my dad lives in Connecticut, and even though he knows about backcountry ski safety and who he would call, um, I but if he's doing something that's in a different time zone, or he's just not aware of the resources that we have here in the valley, it's just good to have someone local that understands who to call and what to do if you don't come back in time. And then another thing to think about when you start planning who you're going with is who's coming. Have you been with them before? Do you need to go skiing with them to kind of get a feel for what their experience is like? Does everyone in the group have avalanche gear and the knowledge to use it? Those are like the first basic questions that I think about before I even decide where we're going, because that has a lot to do with where you go, is what kind of experience they have. So now that we've kind of done through all the pre-trip planning, we go out into the backcountry, and we want to start out your day with your beacon battery level and your personal battery level. I feel like this is a really great way to get a gauge of where your group is at just straight out the gate in the day. And it basically, let's say, for example, the night before, one of your friends in the group went out last night, had a couple drinks, maybe they had a bad day at work, and their battery level's at like a 20%, and you're about to do a big day. So that's really important to know for just keeping everyone in line, and keeping everyone safe throughout the day. Just to know if you have someone in the group that's not going to be performing at their highest level, especially if you have someone who's been resting all week and is super stoked for this adventure, and their battery levels at 100%. When you have two people like that, it can be really challenging to manage the group dynamics and to navigate safely. So I feel like that's a really great way to kind of balance and support people that are maybe not feeling as well. Yeah, and you don't have to pry. It's a great way to just kind of see where someone's at without knowing why. And then hopefully you can make yourself approachable and make them feel comfortable with sharing with you like why they're not feeling great. Like, are they scared about today? And you could offer them some extra reassurance of, why you feel like today is safe, or things like that. You also want to be able to speak your thoughts out loud and encourage others to do the same throughout the day. As you move through terrain and noticing that snow is, roller balling down this slope and pointing that out, and noticing that the sun is coming out and making the sun heat up. Just like noticing everything like that and speaking with it out loud and talking about it with your crew is a great way to just feel like everyone's in communication with each other about what we're doing and how comfortable everyone feels. Yeah, and you want to lead with humility and respect. If I've been in a lot of situations in the past where I haven't felt heard or respected as a member and by the leader, and that can make it really hard to speak up and make it feel like that your opinion is valid. And it's really important to make sure that everyone in the group has a voice. And even if you are the person with the least amount of experience in the group, you still need to learn and talk about what you're seeing and understand why it is that this particular slope is safe and all things like that. So yeah. So what if I feel like we need to turn around? We've been dreaming about this line forever, and I really don't want to turn around. It's really super common to turn around, and I personally celebrate turning around because it feels like a win to me that I was able to, change the plan and do what's best for the safety of my crew. And it's really more common than you would think to turn around. And I know Jeremy Jones said recently in an interview I saw that he turns around 70% of the time, and he does a lot of big adventures, so that checks out definitely. But it's not always a quote unquote success to make it to the top of a big adventure, and turning around is not a problem. It's you're keeping your friends safe, and yeah, you should make your group feel comfortable about turning around as well, if that's something that makes people feel better. And you want to stay in tune with your crew. If you notice someone's lagging, sit in the back of the pack with them for a while, support them, make them feel like they can speak up if they're nearing their limit. Nothing's worse than feeling like you can't speak your discomfort to the group. So definitely just try and be there for your people and make decisions together. So I've kind of broken down there like three tiers of preparation to kind of take everything that I put in there. It seemed very jumbled to me of like, what do I do with all this information? So I broke it down into kind of three tiers of preparation. And these are based on um, levels of difficulty. So you might have heard me talk about an easy tour or a big day. And so I would say level one, it would be an easy tour, and level three would be like a big day. And it's kind of broken up in between there. And on my next slide, I have some examples of each of these three levels that I'll talk about. But basically, with level one, you want to start out with everyone in your group having a level one certification at the least. You want to have everyone with AVI supplies. One person with first aid in the group requires minimal preparation time, and plan A is the safest option for the day, meaning that you're choosing something that is extremely safe. A lot of people are skiing it. It's under 30 degrees. It's right next to the car, really easy, like basic thing that you could take someone the first time you go in the backcountry with. And then you move on to level two. And that includes everything in level one plus level two. So you want to have more than one first aid / woofer in the group. This adventure would require a plan A, B, and C. Uh, you need to have an in-person meetup prior to going out, and consider having more experienced members in the group. So this is basically kind of the average tour that I'd say that I'd go on most of the time is a level 2. Um, and it's, it's something that's a little bit more risky. You're on in terrain that is higher than 30 degrees most of the time. You're really thinking about the avalanche forecast, and making sure you're in areas that aren't going to slide. You're probably going to dig a pit when you get there. And so you want to make sure that you've got more experienced members in your group when you're picking experienced members. And then you get into level 3. So that includes everything from level 1 and then level 2, and then you add on level 3. So everyone should be on the same or similar experience and fitness level. Each person should have multiple years of experience, AVI2 certification and rescue, and practice beacon searches together. And additional safety tools may be required based on terrain, like ice axe, climbing equipment, ropes, crevasse equipment, rescue equipment. This is like a big spring mission where you'd only go out there when the AVI conditions are low and early in the morning. You got to be fast and make sure you get out there before the snow warms up. And so this is what I would call, a big day where I want to make sure everyone is on top of their stuff. Everyone knows what they're doing. I feel really confident in my partners. And this is not the first time that you've been out with these people. It should be, some people that you feel very comfortable in their rescue skills and everything like that. Uh, so here I have some examples of each of those things. So first I'll talk about my level 1 experience with the Whitefish side country. So in Whitefish, the side country is right off the resort, and it is super safe. It's a place where I bring people when it's the first time I've gone backcountry skiing with them, kind of get a read on their skills. And yeah, it's very heavily skied. It only ever slides when it's a high AVI day or an extreme AVI day, maybe once a year. So if it's a low day or a moderate day, this is a great place to bring someone. And that's what I would call a level 1 ski tour. And there's usually a lot of other places like this in other ski towns as well. That's right off the side of the road, and you see a lot of people skiing it all the time. It's below 30 degrees. It's got a lot of tree cover, and gets heavily skied. So that's what I would call a level 1. A level 2 is what I would call this area in the Flathead Valley called Jewel Basin. And so this is where we would go. You can take via snowmobiles up to a long road and go up to a base area, or you can skin up a switchback skin track up to a particular area, and then you have a whole bowl of areas to ski around you in various aspects to choose from based on the avalanche conditions for the day. So it does require a little bit more planning. There are some features around that would require some time to make sure everyone is familiar and comfortable with navigating around cliffs and steeper areas. So yeah, that's what I call a level 2. And then level 3 is what I would call Gray Wolf Couloir. This is an experience that I've had. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but in this middle picture here, that is Gray Wolf Couloir that we're all looking at. It's that little thin sliver there. And yeah, that's a huge day, lots of elevation gain. And I have a story about this particular adventure that I think is a great example of group dynamics. So we basically, my husband and I had been wanting to ski Gray Wolf Couloir for a couple years, and we had been planning this out and waiting for the right spring day to ski it. And then we had realized that there were 2 separate groups of our other friends that wanted to ski Gray Wolf as well. So we had Cody and Cody, which were 2 people in this photo that we've skied with a bunch, very heavy ski mountaineers, very experienced, and we've skied with them many times before. And then we had Bradley and Lydia, who was another couple who we've skied with them for years, very solid in the backcountry, And we decided that we wanted to ski this all together with the six of us. But these two people had never met each other before. And so we decided that we wanted to meet up the night before as a group. And it was the type of thing where it was time to ski it now, and we didn't have time to ski together as a group beforehand and get to know each other. We basically had to meet up that night and then go that next day. So we met up, we talked about it with each other, and everyone got to know each other. We made a plan for the day. We woke up at 3 a.m. We went and got to the top of this point right here, and then we skied down to the base of the couloir. And when we got there, I had felt as though I had been completely annihilated, and it was a huge day for me. And we got to the base of the couloir, and I didn't feel like I would be able to make it to the top and ski down safely. So I voiced that, and I said, I don't think I can go to the top. And then Cody said, I don't think that I have the skiing skills to ski down this couloir. It's very steep. And then Bradley had said, I'm also super gassed and I don't think I can make it up either. And then we had the three others that said, I'm super stoked on this. I really want to go up to the top. Like, what do we think about breaking up to 3 and 3? And so, we talked about it for a little while. We decided that we still had really solid numbers with three people going up here and three people going over here, that we didn't feel like it caused anyone else to be in danger. And it was actually the safest scenario for us to split up. So we decided to go ski a slow angle area over here and watch them ski down the couloir. And they made it down safely. They had an awesome time. And it's probably the one of the few stories I've ever had in my own experience where splitting up was the best option. And even though all of us had never skied together before, it ended up being an amazing day. And I was so glad that we went out with such a big crew because we were able to split up like that. And if it was only just four of us, I don't know if we would have had the same number of people that wanted to split up, and I might have had to go to the top and could have gotten injured. So there are times where things don't always work out the way you planned, or things work out the way that are wrong, that you shouldn't split up your group. And sometimes that's the best decision. So you just have to make sure that you're all open with each other. If I had never talked or said my opinion about feeling gassed and feeling like I couldn't make it up, I don't know if I think we probably would have all gone to the top and maybe something bad would have happened. And so it's so important that everyone voices their opinion and feels like their voice is heard and feels comfortable to talk to everyone about how they're feeling. So that's kind of my take home message, I guess. Yeah, and I'll leave you with this quote that I thought was very fitting for what we're talking about and just how to be a humble leader. And it says, "Those who know the most many times are the ones that say the least. Humble leaders are willing to pass on the credit but absorb criticism, push others higher while making themselves lower, and put the team's desires ahead of their own." So that's pretty much it. And I'll open it up for questions or comments or stories or whatever. And if you don't feel comfortable talking in a group, then if you feel free to email me or message me on Instagram. And yeah, happy to chat with any of you.
Thanks, Erica. I'm glad that that story turned out well. I didn't know if it was gonna go the other way, if it was
Yeah.
not a good situation, having it be a group that hadn't two pairs of the group hadn't met before. Um and like group dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
Um yeah, if anyone has questions, feel free to pop them in the chat or comments. I have a question. More about what you talked about in the beginning, but like what, um, when you do end up in a group and maybe the group dynamic is not going great and there is some like one person in the group is feeling uncomfortable and like trying to voice that and someone else is maybe, being like It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Like how do you kind of manage that if conflict ends up coming up like while you're out there and that it wasn't something that came out like when you got together to meet up with people and it actually just came out like once you're out there.
Hmm. Yeah, I'd say this is where the leader really needs to take a stand, and there's a reason why there's a like a one leader on a backcountry tour is for when these situations arise. It's like the captain of the ship, it's like this person that is leading our tour is going to make these decisions for us. And so if the leader is saying that we need to do this thing that's more low key for this person, and there's someone that's saying like, no, I want to really go do this big line over here, like I really, it's so awesome, like it looks safe, it's fine. And um you could, the leader would have to come to that situation and say, I don't feel comfortable splitting up our group of three. I don't feel like it's safe for us to go over there, and if you want to ski this line, you're going to have to come back in another day. But I feel like we should stick together and do what's most comfortable for the group. So it's tough conversations have to happen in the backcountry, and sometimes you might have to make your friend mad, but you might have saved their life. So it's really tough to be the bad guy sometimes, but you really got to lean into being the bad guy when you're positioned as the leader. And it's also really important to make sure you designate someone as the leader, because I've been through a lot of tours in my life where we never actually designated someone as the leader, and then we end up coming across a situation like that where we don't really know who's in charge,
Yeah.
and then it just kind of makes things messy. So generally people make the most experienced person the leader, and that's generally a good way to go unless you're trying to give someone more experience in leading. um, but yeah, I think that making someone the designated leader before the tour is a good idea, just to make sure to you have a point person to talk about those things and make those decisions when they do occur. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And I'm not seeing other questions, but just this kind of goes along with everything you were talking about is that which everyone can go and watch, but our first two backcountry betas of the season, one of them was in avalanche awareness with NWAC, which was super cool. Kind of like it was like an hour and a half kind of overview about things and really like um talking about um getting into more the nitty-gritty of reading the forecasts and things like that. And then our second one was specifically on like planning a route on Caltopo. And I feel like this one also slides in really nice of then like, if you're at that point of wanting to think about leading a tour or even like leading a group of friends that's just wanting to do some really fun low angle stuff of being able to say, okay, we have the skills and we can plan it and we can look at how to do some of these like leadership skills and what we need before we go out. So I just feel like it makes a really nice little progression there. Um,
Awesome.
yeah. And also like you kind of mentioned it too. Just with like, it's not a inexpensive thing to get into, for like the um taking like a formal course, and it's really cool though that there is a lot more scholarships now. And I created, well, a few people have created lists for finding scholarships, but I created one after our first session. And so I'm happy to also make sure that that goes out to any of you all who are joining that maybe didn't get that email the last time. Let's see, we have a question. I'm a backcountry newbie. What's your advice on prioritizing expertise versus personalities meshing in terms of leadership? Let's say there's an individual with the most expertise and most likely to be the leader, but maybe you personally don't mesh with the person's personality.
Hmm, that's interesting. I would say, um, well, I am personally a big proponent of trying to find people that I do mesh personally with, you know. And I've been trying to do a lot of work on uh being around people that I want to be around. And if this is a person that is maybe not going to be that type of person around you where you feel like your best self and you feel safe around them, then I don't know if you should be going into the backcountry with them. Um, so it's definitely a tough line to draw, especially if you're looking for people to lead you and guide you and teach you things. So I don't know. I think that maybe yeah, that's a challenging one for sure. I have definitely had my share of going on adventures with people that I don't particularly care for their personality. But maybe just doing something that's not as risky of an adventure, like going on a low avalanche day where there's not a lot of risk would probably be better. But yeah, you do really have to trust your backcountry partners. You know, you're making potentially life-altering decisions with them. And if you don't trust them, then you know that could end badly. So I would recommend, yeah, trying to find someone that you do mesh with.
Right? That like you maybe have a rapport with outside of that, and people you trust.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's definitely not easy, you know, like especially starting out in the backcountry, I only had like, you know, two or three friends that I would go out with and yeah, it didn't really mesh super well with some of them. And there were a lot of decisions that were made that were not good looking back on it. But you know, it's kind of you don't know what you don't know. So I think that it's really important to have a good rapport with people and also trust their decision making skills and yeah, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
Hi.
yeah.
Um, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes. Hi, Jacinta.
Hi, Evan. Thanks for running this, and thank you, Erica, as well. I'm Jacinta. I sorry my camera's off. I've been cooking dinner and running around, so I'm not gonna come on camera, but I just wanted to say hi. I came in a little late, but this was really great, what I did here. And I just wanted to comment that I really liked the part that you spoke about turning back. Because I think that isn't something people talk about that often. And I've had a few situations where I've been the one who is like, oh, I don't think this is a good idea. Um, and I don't want to deal with the like maybe I think I can get over this or get past, but I don't know if everyone else in the group is, and I don't know if that's a good idea that we deal with this. And I've felt, you know, in some situations people are really great about turning back, and then in some situations they're really not. And I've felt
hmm
both. So yeah, it's just like really validating to hear you be like, no, it's really important. And I like the way you said like it's a win. I think that's a good mentality to have. So yeah, more I don't really have a question, but I'm more commenting that that was a really cool thing to hear.
cool. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jacinta. Yeah, I feel like the more I've spoken up and the more I've learned to find my voice throughout my experience in the backcountry, a lot of that has come with like feeling confident that I know what I'm talking about. But really, I mean, way back in the day when I was little baby, you know,
Mhm.
backcountry skier, I still was had valid concerns that I just didn't tell anybody about. And yeah, I think it's so important to make everyone feel like they can voice their concerns and their concerns are being assessed. And yeah, turning around is a success. And I've definitely had a couple times in the past where I've said, I think I might want to turn around. I don't know how I feel about this. And then you have two other people that say like, "Oh my God, I feel the same way too."
Yeah.
But they didn't really want to say it because they were worried about, you know, not making it to the top. So yeah, the top isn't always the goal. You're going out there to have fun with your friends and come back home safely. So if anyone feels uncomfortable or they have a gut feeling, like your gut feeling is coming from somewhere, so you should listen
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great advice. Thanks.
Yeah.
I feel like that's so true about like even with just like little things about, going out or something. I always find that, once you say like, I don't really want to do this, or I feel uncomfortable, or I'm actually really hungry and I'm tired and I don't think I can do it. And then everyone else is like, oh, thank goodness you said something. I was thinking that too. And you're in a group and we're like, why do we feel like, why do we not want to share these things? And even sometimes it happens with people who I do trust and I'm still like, oh, I don't want to rain on their fun parade, and I feel like I'm getting better at doing that when I really just I don't want to do something or I feel uncomfortable. And the people I do trust are like, that's okay. That's fine. Or they feel the same way and they're like, yeah, okay,
Hmm.
great. So it's
Yeah.
always reassuring when you have that reaction because that just makes you want to do it more instead of like a no, let's keep going, and here's all the reasons why we should. It kind of that builds up okay, I'm not gonna, I shouldn't say anything. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, practice.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Love
yeah.
it.
Does anyone have any other questions or comments? There's no pressure, but we got time if you want, and if not, that's okay. And this recording will be available on the YouTube, but I saw some comments in there about not getting that part of the email. So we usually send an email follow-up after that just is the link to this and any specific things we talked about in here. And so I'll share those resources that I was talking about. Um, yeah. Thanks so much, Erica. This was awesome. Thanks for coming back.
Of course.
You always
Thanks
have a
for having
great
me.
perspective and a great presentation. And oh, maybe I'll include also the link to yours from last season about packing because that one
Yeah.
was also really good and you all should check that out because that's a can of worms as well and Erica does a
Oh,
good
yeah.
job of trying to break it down. So yeah.
I think it came with a PDF too, with like the check marks of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
packing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
that's linked. I'll find where the link to that is. I think it's on the
Hmm.
website. But if not, I'll figure out linking it. Oh yeah, the
Cool.
packing. It's good, Marnie. It's a good one to watch. Um, awesome. Well, if no one has any questions, Erica, do you have anything else to add?
I don't think so. Yeah, I guess I have a YouTube channel now, so if you want to
Ooh,
follow me there, it's the same as my Instagram handle. So yeah, just my latest video will be my trip to Japan, so working on that. So it should be coming out soon. So
cool.
yeah,
Can you remind
yeah.
us what it is? And I'll just
It's it's Rico Flow. It's the same as my Instagram right here on the screen.
okay, cool.
Um, yeah, so I could send you a link to it if
Oh
you want
yeah,
to put
I
it
see
in
it.
the
Sorry, I had
yeah.
changed the view for a second. Now I
Oh
see
yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, we'll check it
Alrighty.
out. You're doing some fun things, and I love to see all of it. So,
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate
yeah.
it.
Have a good winter, everyone. Hopefully it's wintering where you are. Be safe. And I will, I guess this is the last backcountry beta of the season. So we'll see you next season, everybody. Oh, yay.
Awesome.
Wintering in Tahoe. That's great. I love it. Awesome. Okay. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for sharing.
Bye.
Bye. Where is the end button? Bye.